Hello, this is Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger with another California report. But this week, I want to talk to you about something that is critical to the safety of our state and our nation, and that is securing our border. Today, we are in the midst of a heated national debate on immigration. But regardless of the party or politics, securing our border is something that we should be able to agree on, no matter what the party is. I mean, right now, our border is a war zone. There is violence, murders, kidnappings, human trafficking, and of course the illegal crossings. We have people casually walking across the border into our country with machine guns in their hands and with drugs and who knows what else, because there are gaping holes in our fence and not enough border patrols. I mean, just look at this. I mean, I was right here. Then all of a sudden, after this fence, there's no fence. Then the fence starts again. Then there's no fence. Then the fence continues. No fence. Continues. Then there's a long distance, no fence. Then there's a fence.
That was Arnold Schwarzenegger, according to this video, 14 years ago. He was then governor of California. You know, California has had, I would say, their share of unpredictable leaders. Ronald Reagan was out of Hollywood. So was Arnold. We can go down the road. A lot of interesting people have come out of California. And if everything goes right with this video, I want to be able to show you that Arnold Schwarzenegger was on The View yesterday. That was June 17th, he was on The View, a Tuesday. And according to the reports, he stunned the ladies on The View with his position, of which I will share with you. But I will also share with you in relation to the 5 C's. Yes, they came into play. I was kind of shocked, but then again, I shouldn't be. You're not able to navigate in this world without tiptoeing and dancing and Fred Astaire and moonwalking to Michael Jackson. The tightrope with the powers. I'll say allegedly, but I teach the 5 C's, welcome new subscribers, of clues, codes, colors, the comprehension of time, which includes the dates and conclusion. You see, with the gift that God has given me, I've been able to see beyond what they say and what the alphabet news agencies report. And this, again, is a very interesting video because I actually agree with, from the research that I have so far, I actually agree with Arnold and how we should pull it together and work together and solve it and come over the right way. And that's all he's saying. But you know, we live in a period of time, if you notice it's a lot of combativeness. I remember watching the tennis tournament last week, and 2 ladies, they had them, I think within 24 hours, they're all over the news, being combative. Sports is combative, politics is combative, business is politicians are combative. It seems to be the theme. It seems to be the atmosphere. Then they write it out, and I believe what the goal of the powers is to take every major event when it reaches a certain peak and to not give you peace. They got to have combativeness. Even when in the women's basketball, right? You got the black and the white. Right? You got the girl from Indiana, and you got the girl from the Chicago Sky, with this alleged confrontation. You know who they are. It's always this spin that you're seeing. But I digress. Let's get into Schwarzenegger. I know you guys love a lot of his movies, The Terminator. I mean, this guy, he's a legend. You might as well call him the, he's almost the twin of Clint Eastwood. But he's a foreigner. And he's speaking out, and he made his money, and he made his mark, and he honed his skills right here in America. And I think he's, I don't know, I guess the perfect person to speak on it in terms of success. So let's go down this hole. Here we go. A recent response from him. Stephen Smith show. And again, I hope that these, if you're watching the videos and all of a sudden you see me talking, it's because the videos that I try to produce, it was a copyright and they wouldn't let me in. So let's see what happens here.
Immigration problems now, it's just really a shortfall and the shortcoming of the politicians because they never solve the problems. And this is a creation by the politicians in a way because they don't solve the problem. The immigration issue can be resolved very quickly by giving more working permits and student visas to people, and then they don't have to come in here legally. So to me, that is the way to solve it. Democrats and Republicans can come together on this issue and solve this issue.
Arnold, do you find this to be a nationwide issue, or is it a special circumstance in the case of California?
No, the immigration issue has been going on since Ronald Reagan, and I think that the idea was always that to solve this issue, and for decades after decades, the politicians didn't, because each one of the parties is interested to not solving it because they can raise money based on that. Republicans do the hardline, and the Democrats do the inclusive kind of a spiel. And so, they all raise money on that, they all campaign on that, so they don't really want to solve it. To me, those problems are there.
I think that's as honest as you can be. Democrats go soft, Republicans go hard. The goal is really never to solve it, but just to have it as a political football that you kick around back and forth, and may the best politician win. Here, I mean, how open and honest can you be? And I'm saying that in relation to a former politician, governor. Listen.
In the case of California.
No, the immigration issue has been going on since Ronald Reagan. And I think that the idea was always that to solve this issue, and for decades after decades, the politicians didn't, because each one of the parties is interested to not solving it because they can raise money based on that. Republicans do the hardline, and the Democrats do the inclusive kind of a spiel. And so, they all raise money on that, they all campaign on that, so they don't really want to solve it. To me, those problems are there. As a politician, you have the responsibility.
That's terrible.
Not to be a party servant, but to be a public servant. And in order to serve the public, you have to solve this problem.
Wow. Puppet servant as a puppet servant as opposed to a public servant. And if you want to be a successful politician, you need to be a public servant. I don't see too many people would have a problem with that. And of course, politicians, they all going to say the right thing to get in. This guy's out of politics. Will he go back in? I doubt it. But who can disagree with this? Let's listen to The View. And again, hopefully it's not a copyright issue. I've had a problem with The View before. Hopefully they let this video go through, because I want you to listen to his response in terms of immigration. Current response.
Important thing, so you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America, and they're the foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest. And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can. Keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think The important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
You can't argue with that. Shout out to Benny for publishing it. I just used his spiel. I just used his program. But it's all over the internet. I could have used anybody's. But yeah, shout out to Benny. People, look, you know, you've probably heard this response before, but I'm going to say it. Bring some sanity back to America, right? Bring some good old-fashioned sanity back to America, especially in politics. Just to hear what he is saying, how he's breaking this thing down. I mean, it's refreshing. And it's worth playing again. Let me just go into a little bit of it again.
There will be 7,000 some people there. And
That's great.
So it's really a great, great celebration. This is what this is all about, is to celebrate people becoming Americans and coming to America and in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can, keep things clean, and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do, rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back.
And I pointed out because it appears to me she was trying to interrupt him. He's the guest, talking about how a guest should behave. I want you to really wrap your mind around this logic. When I pointed, you saw her hand was on his shoulder as he was trying to describe how a guest should act in a house of America. And that you get all these opportunities of education and job and raising family. And when it affords you all that, you should then, without any money, feel the need to give back. And as he's trying to make his point, she got her hand on his arm. And then she trying to talk. People, again, he's talking about how a guest should behave. And I think it's the right thing to do to just listen at this point, because he's making so much sense at this point. And that she should let a guest on her show, on their show, speak as a guest on her show, and as someone who is an immigrant and understands and has walked in the shoes of a guest and who has made it. And for him to be at this marquee moment of expression, to millions of people, I'm sure, will see the show over time. She goes and puts her hands on his arm. We need journalists that know when to talk and when to listen, so that people can get the full benefit and the essence of what they're saying, especially when it makes so much sense. And I'm sure there's gonna be people in the comment section. I don't catch The View. I haven't watched it in years because I don't like the combativeness. I don't like the cackling back and forth. I like dialogue. I don't mind a little, interrupt a little bit and you having fun and trying to make a point. I get that. But when you get the impression that you are intentionally breaking the thought of someone just to be doing it, to be combative, that's when I got a problem, and it's a turnoff to me. And so I'm so glad there's so much independent media out here. But even with some of them, I was taught, and I had to learn it the hard way, unfortunately, but I learned it. And I learned it through taking a lot of management classes. And I've shared with you guys a biblical book that I have on biblical principles on how to manage people. And I learned how to actively listen, especially when someone's making a point, to not interrupt them. That's a good trait to have. You allow your guests to bring forth their point, and you don't break their concentration. And the listeners, the viewership, gets the full thrust and gravity and the base of what they're trying to say. Now let me get into this thing. I just want to, let's go into the 5C. I was going to read something. You know what? Maybe I'll read some stuff right quick. Arnold says you have the responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever. It is make this a better place, the former California governor said. The host pushed back. Get this. The View host pushed back on Schwarzenegger as Whoopi Goldberg insisted 90% of the people who come here are trying to do the right thing. Immigrants are less likely to commit crimes in this country than actual American-born citizens, co-host Sonny Hostin told Schwarzenegger. That's Sonny who put a hand on his arm. Those are stats. Are they accurate? I don't believe it. Schwarzenegger also called for immigration reform during the discussion and said both Democrats and Republicans needed to work together to pass it. I don't know what the number is. I did say 90% the other day. I want to couch this 90% a little bit differently. I want to say that 90% of the people are good people, all right? And that they had good intent when they came over here. But a lot of them don't know any better because they haven't been acclimated through the system, okay? They haven't sworn allegiance to anything. And anytime you allowed to get away with certain things, like get over here free and do things, I mean, I did videos last year where I showed that they literally setting up grills on the street cooking. No license to cook, no sanitation license, no nothing. And that's one of my points. People want to debate it, but I got 19 years running a restaurant. I'm telling you, you don't sit up here and have a food vendor with no license and no quality control. But I'm gonna digress. Let's get into this thing here. Schwarzenegger, date of birth, July 30th, 1947. Check July 30th, 2024, his last birthday, versus yesterday on The View, 6/17. The difference is 322. You know 322 happened to be what? Skull and bones. Then 46. 46 is destruction. Like you got JFK. George Orwell, George Floyd, they all died at 46. Then you got 10:18, like Luke 10:18 is when Satan was hurled out of heaven, Luke 10:18. Is this coincidence that it come out to 322, skull and bones? Okay, then look at this. Arnold was governor November 17th to January 3rd, okay? Look at this. January 3rd, 2025, anniversary of when he left as the governor of California versus yesterday on The View, 6/17. The difference is 165 days. What is 165? The 165th day of the year is June 14th. And guess what? June 14th is Trump's birthday. So basically what I'm telling you is that from the time that Arnold Schwarzenegger left as a governor, with his anniversary date versus the day he was on The View is 165 days. The 165th day of the year is June 14th, that's Trump's birthday. Is that coincidence? See, the powers got to get their praise is what I'm trying to tell you, allegedly. Check it out. Los Angeles became a state April 4th, 1850. Take April 4th, 2025, the anniversary, versus yesterday on The View, 6/17. The difference is 2/16. The 216th day of the year is August 4th. August 4th is Barack Obama's birthday, who I believe is the Antichrist. Then look, there it is, 2/16, August 4th, Barack Obama. Boom. They're running everything, people. Then you got July 30th. What is July 30th? That's Schwarzenegger's date of birth, July 30th, 2025. Subtracted from Trump's last birthday, 6/14/2025. The difference is 47 days. There are exactly 47 days between Arnold Schwarzenegger's birthday and Trump's birthday, including the end date. 47 days. Isn't Trump the 47th president? People, I believe they had him speak out, allegedly, at this time, so the numbers can match, okay? Because these are mathematical improbabilities. Now check this out. His first movie is called Hercules in New York. Hercules in New York, February 25th. Take February 25th, 1970, versus yesterday, 6/17. The difference is exactly 55 years, 333. 333 can be Masonic, and 55, that's when Julius Caesar died at 55 years old. Are they speaking without speaking? That Julius Caesar is the modern day Trump. Think about it. Then look, Schwarzenegger, his last movie was 2014. He wasn't in the last episode, Expendables #4. He was in this one, Expendables #3. This came out in the United States August 4th. You see that, August 4th. Who was born August 4th? Barack Obama was born August 4th. Is that coincidence? Isn't that something? So you take August 4th, 2027 versus 6/17/2025 from yesterday. The difference is 11111. There's that 111 again. Oklahoma basketball team has beat the Indiana Pacers twice with a score of 111. And he also beat them by 11 points 2 nights ago. The only lone survivor from the India plane crash a few days ago, he was in seat A11. A is the first letter of the alphabet, A. So that's 111. Plus, his when he was in the hospital, the guy who survived the airplane crash, his bed number was 11. Also on the 111th day of the year, that's when the Pope died, April 21st. Come on, baby. Is this coincidence that you would take the last movie that he made versus the day he went on The View, 111? I don't think so. Then check this out. 225. 225 is the first movie that they came out with, New York, Hercules in New York, versus Barack Obama's birthday, August 4th, 2014. The difference is 44. Barack Obama was the 44th president. What else we got? Almost done. The View. The View started, their first show was August 11th. Take August 11th, 2025 anniversary. From yesterday, Arnold Schwarzenegger be on The View, 6/17. The difference is 55 days. Well, Julius Caesar was 55 years old when he died. Last but not least, you have Austria. That's where Arnold Schwarzenegger's from, Austria. July 27th, 55. July 27, 2025 is the anniversary versus yesterday on The View, 6/17. The difference is 5/5. Well, 5/5, again, that's when Julius Caesar died at 55 years old. My name is Trent Shai Pierce. Enjoy the work. Please subscribe. Tell people about it. The decode is real. Jesus is real. Look, I agree with him, but like I said, hey, the bottom line is that, the power's got their hands in this thing according to the numbers. That's the way I look at it. God bless. The right view is Jesus. For God so loved the world, hallelujah, he gave his only begotten Son, that whomsoever believe in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. That's the view. That's the view. That's the view. God bless you.